place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Access to our money will put in the bank. POS operator, she said 50,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Access to our money will put in the bank. POS operator, she said 50,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said they
people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Access to our money will put in the bank. POS operator, she said 50,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
It's a beautiful day and good to have you on ATN's Open Conversation. ATN's Open Conversation is a network's flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Now, through this conversation, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to our society. Our first point of call this morning is on tribunal verdict. Atiku Obi's petition lacked merit, abysmally unproved. Is coming from Adebayo. And we'll go to the Niger issue. President Tinubu cannot deploy troops with both National Assembly without both National Assembly houses. And in party politics, we will receive Kwankwaso if he wants to defect. This is coming from Ganduje. At the November 11 poll, Ododo's victory will bring development in human capital. Still on the November 11, Labour Party gubernatorial candidate vows to fix infrastructure in Bayelsa State. And then we'll move over to issue around Chicago trial. Court throw out Atiku's suit on Tinubu's records. Still on Chicago trial, Atiku gives reason for withdrawing case against Tinubu in the U.S. Our resource persons on the show this morning is a community leader, a political analyst, a social-political analyst, Chief Loveday Okere. And we also have Professor Leki Agima. He's a compliance legal professional, professor, but he's here this morning as a compliance expert. Stay with us. We'll come back to you after the break.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Access to our money will put in the bank. POS operator, she said 50,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
You condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about
Open conversation, everyone. Let's get into the conversation as it should be, but not forgetting that we have Chief Loveday Okere live in the studio. Good morning and welcome to ATN Open Conversation.
Good morning, Vivian. Good morning, Nigeria.
Chief, you're looking very green today.
Thank you very much.
Is this in the spirit of Niger must survive?
Maybe it's a coincidence. Once in a while, you try to go through your wardrobe and whatever enters your eye, you put it on.
Well, let's talk Nigerian politics. So the All Progressive Congress governorship candidate, flag bearer, the All Progressive Congress governorship flag bearer in Kogi State, Alhaji Usman Ododo, has been described by his team as a politician with deep mind for the socio-economic development of the state. The Director General of Aminat Daniya Network for Ododo, Hajia Amina Daniya, who spoke to newsmen in Lokoja over the weekend, said Ododo's victory at the November 2023 governorship poll will herald glad tidings of massive development in core areas of infrastructure, education, health, agriculture, and human capital. According to Daniya, the APC governorship hopeful is a brilliant but quiet achiever. She further explained that her political group was convinced that Ododo would give the Kogi electorate their voters' card value with good governance that the people would be proud of when elected. According to Daniya, Ododo's academic pedigree, work experience, and track record in public service are combined qualities he would bring to bear in the administration of the state. Ododo also noted that is a broad-minded leader with listening ear and eagle eye for productivity, assuring the people of the state that they will not regret electing him as their next governor. Now, this is a campaign hasn't officially kicked off, but somehow people find a way to begin the campaign without the official date. But here is the thing, Chief. Ododo, like every other politician, to the moon and back.
Well, governorship election is a local election that has to do with the constituencies residing within the particular federating unit, as it were, in Nigeria. And the name Ododo, I will not say is a name that can be accessed nationally. To the best of my own knowledge, it's not a national figure per se, just like you other ones that are from Kogi State that we can say, okay, based on their track record in terms of where they were found, this is how we are going to assess them. It is only the people of Kogi State who know the aspirants very, very well that can actually assess them based on what they have done before, if at all they have. But looking at politics here, for him to have emerged as a flag bearer of APC, he didn't come from the moon. He must have been assessed by the local participants in All Progressive Congress in Kogi State that deemed him worthy. I'm aware that the likes of Senator Smart Adeyemi contested alongside others to be flag bearers of APC. And at the end of the day, the mantle fell on Ododo, meaning that locally too, he is not also somebody that you can also write off. There must be something in him that has propelled the people of Kogi State, especially the ones in APC, to choose him, because politics is a real contest, and going to face the likes of Dino Melaye in Kogi State, you must get somebody who is also up to that level to actually compete, even though it is a party politics where everybody, including the sitting governor, is going to be involved. But be that as it may, how do we assess performance? How do we assess credibility? How do we assess one that we can actually say this person is better than the other? It would have been through the records, just like we said. But the man now coming up to say what he's saying, I expected nothing less than that. I even expect him to say more about him being better than every other person, because there's a popular saying that nobody will say that his mother's soup is not delicious, even if it is not, and nobody that will always reject sugar if it is put in your mouth. So for him to sell, for the people of Kogi State to accept his candidature, he everything that is coming out of him will be the ones that will encourage the people of Kogi State, that will encourage the electorates to actually see him as the right person that should be voted as the governor of Kogi State. If he had come to say, because I have never been governor before, I have never been this and that, I do not have the prerequisite qualification to be governor, but I'm coming to learn, people will look at it that this man is not prepared. But even though I have not heard of him before, and he has come to say that based on my track records, based on my academic qualifications, based on what I have done as a private individual in my private and public services I have ever rendered, this is to prove that I'm going to do more. If you also bring the likes of Dino Melaye will also tell you the same thing. If you bring the one from SDP, because I'm aware that there are about 3 or 4 strong contenders in Kogi State, which, all things being equal, it may swing to either way, depending on whom the people of Kogi State deem very necessary that it is the person that they want to vote to govern them, if the votes will count.
Now, speaking of EV, and of course other candidates, the Labour Party candidates, all seemingly strong contenders. Now, Kogi State being the battle rather to take Kogi State from the ruling party, being the APC, is a strong one. But if you look at the security issues within the state, the threat of being attacked and all of that has been going on right now, why do you think our politics or elections always looks at issues from the angle of do or die?
Because in Nigeria, our election here is winner takes all. Though there's a little shift now in Nigeria in Tinubu's presidency, where you can begin to see that in his cabinet, opposition party members are being considered, and those who are not also politicians, those who have not had their names as politicians, have also found their names in the list, just like Obasanjo did as at then. Otherwise, in Nigerian politics, it is winner take all. So since it is winner take all, everybody will want to do everything possible to make sure that him or his political party wins election, so that they will be able to take all. But if our politics is run in such a way that when you win, you see both the opposition and members of your political party as Nigerians, as those who are partners, as those, because if there are no oppositions, there will be no winner. It's just like the negative and positive that can give you electricity. If there is no negative, there can be no light. So if you consider that these two things coming together make it up that for us to have a winner, then you should be able to consider everybody wants to win election, including when it is in terms of appointment. I don't know the reason why if somebody contested election with me as to be governor, and at the end of the day I become governor, and the person have the good intention for the state, there's nothing wrong bringing the person in to come and be a commissioner, to come and serve in any capacity at all that the person can serve, as long as the person sees it. But you know, in politics, when it comes to political parties, every other political party that is not the winning the party in power sees itself as opposition, and the opposition in Nigeria here means not seeing anything good in whatever thing that the party in power does. Even if they bring the moon to your house, you find a way to condemn it. That is why any political party that is in power will turn its eye away from opposition party until for you to feel among or give kudos to President Ahmed Bola Tinubu for beating that record of trying to cross the line to actually see members of other political parties as being qualified to occupy office, and he's bringing them in. So if we can do this, the issue of do or die affairs in our political system may reduce. And another thing is that people have seen it that once you gain access to power, you're already going to have access to the resources. Then you have advantage to use the resources to fight whichever litigation that is going to come up against you after winning election. So it is let us win first, and then if they go to court or they do whatever, we'll now know how to fight them. We use our connection and all the resources within our purview to fight. That's why people try to do what I call a do or die affair during our electioneering system, which is not different from what is happening in Kogi State.
Oh well, we wish them the very best. That's absolutely true. Now let's get into Bayelsa State. Still talking November 11, the governorship candidates. The former Ijo Youth Council president and Labour Party governorship candidate in Bayelsa State, that's engineer Udeng Siradiri, and his running mates, comrade Benjamin Natu, also retired while inspecting ocean surge in Odiomo, Bayelsa State at the weekend, called on the common people, especially the youth, to rise up against the old order to save the state. Engineer Udeng Siradiri, while speaking at a town hall meeting in Odiomo, the home of his running mate, comrade Benjamin Natus in Brass local government area lamented that the old order had failed to progressively drive the economic comparative advantages of the state to develop Bayelsa State. According to him, the coastal communities and ocean cities like Odiomo hold the key to unlock the resource potential capable of birthing new Bayelsa State. He said, "This is the richest place in Bayelsa. I am not here to play politics with few people. Odiomo has a free trade zone status. Every developed nation of the world ensures that they idolize their ocean cities. We are the only people that are joking with our ocean wealth. Odiomo is the blue economy," he said. So if somebody is playing politics with the road to Odiomo or to Brass, he doesn't understand the issues. The road, he said, is a necessity to unlock the wealth for Bayelsa State. The jobs for our young people are here. They don't see it. He said, I'm here to talk to young people. It is time to take leadership. Eraduri said that we have carefully looked at the issues that are affecting our state. There are no functional state hospitals in Bayelsa State. It is mothers that send their children to schools that don't have teachers. The security situation, he said, is bad and there is no drinking water in Yenagoa. Well, in order for us to revive the people's morale, we must ensure that their welfare is topmost on our agenda. Under it, we will deal with healthcare. We will deal with new towns. We are going to build Brass Atlantic City. As we are doing the new Yenagoa town, we are doing the Brass Atlantic City. The purpose is that we need to quickly begin the move towards the ocean. So Udeng said when elected on November 11, his administration will revive Bayelsa economy with agriculture, adding that Bayelsa must attain self-sufficiency in food production. Well, Udeng is the former IYC president, and of course, that's his position is coming from somewhere. Now I'm coming back to you, Chief. Politics in Bayelsa State over time have taken a different turn, with the people of Bayelsa, a part of a local government, fighting with the APC candidate, that's Timi Pre Silva, with the accusation and counter-accusation about certificates and what have you. While all of that is playing out, Doyojiri seemed to be taking a stroll down the park. But now Udenks is here. He was a former IYC president. Everybody seems to understand the force he carries, and now he is using the party where the young people seem to have their hold on to fight the battle. He's talking about blue economy. Interestingly, I never even knew there was a place you could develop in Bayelsa State to talk about a trade-free zone and blue economy. I'd like to bring you in here. What are we looking at in Bayelsa State, Chief?
In this country, generally, outside Bayelsa, there is no state that do not have the potential of different kinds of resources that can sustain them. So the only problem we have is the inability of successive leaders to actually harness on those resources. I'm sure that is what the same thing is applicable to Bayelsa State, and that's what the gentleman is, the Labour Party candidate, is trying to make reference to. Ordinarily, I will agree with him hook, line, and sinker that the past leaders in Bayelsa State has failed the people of Bayelsa State. As a matter of fact, I agree with him. Reason being that what is coming into that state in terms of resources triples what comes in if you just oppose it with other states. The Dubai of Nigeria, because there are so many places that would have been developed as Bayelsa State itself is an island.
True. So
it would have been a tourist attraction for so many things that would have been developed there because of their home, of their country. But despite all these natural, resources that God has given to us that you cannot buy with money, successive government have never seen any reason to develop any part of Bayelsa to become a tourist attraction. What I don't know is how the Labour Party intend to do it, if he has actually generated a blueprint to the people of Bayelsa State to actually see that, look, if we vote this man, this is what he's coming to do, so that if you do not do that, we will hold him responsible. However, he's a Nigerian, he's a Bayelsan. So many persons have said things sweeter than what he's saying today. and when given opportunity, they come and fail, and they even fail woefully. So it is very, very easy to say whatever you want to say, but when you come into power, you sing different song. I can give you instances, like for instance, we used to have somebody who was a labor leader, who held government to ransom, who held the government of Obasanjo to ransom because of increment in PMS and other petroleum products. All of a sudden, because of the way the man fought for the society, I'm talking about the lives of Comrade Oshomole. He's a respected governor of the Edo State. The first challenge he had was how to manage labor in Edo State. His immediate constituency became a problem. And at the end of the day, even since we started fighting over this fuel subsidy removal, I've never heard him say anything. But he was a man that started the fight, that opened the eyes of Nigerians why the government must, stop incrementing petroleum products. Otherwise, if you do that, there is need for you to also increase the wages of workers. Today, petroleum products has been increased to almost 300%. Yet, majority of those working in both public and private sectors, their salaries still. State has come in to come and say a lot of things, trying to make, condemn the old order. Yes, if you say so, people will agree because actually they have failed. But if you are also given the opportunity, how come you will not also, because you are not coming
but he has not been given the opportunity.
Of course, I say so. I say so here. He has not been given the order. He has never had the opportunity before. Now he's coming to have the opportunity as he's trying to convince the people. The question is, how are we sure that when he come in, that those things he's saying today he's also going to implement them? Because he's going to surely have a deputy governor who may not be thinking the way he's thinking. He's going to have commissioners. He's going to have other people's aides. There are stakeholders. Governance is not a one-man business. So what is his blueprint that has shown that every other person that is coming with him to come on board with him will fall in line with whatever proposal he has today?
Yes.
But I encourage him. I give him kudos. If he can convince the people of Bayelsa State to vote for him, so be it, so that at the end of the day we'll judge him by his words.
All right, thank you. Now, Prof, good to have you on ATN Open Conversation today.
Good morning.
So now let's have this conversation. Udensiradri, Engineer Udensiradri, that is, was first an IYC, Ijaw Youth Council Secretary General, and then he became the Ijaw Youth Council President. Now he's contesting for the President of Bayelsa State. He's talking about blue economy. He's also talking about what you can refer to as getting rid of the old order. How come they never noticed it? Bayelsa State is one of those states that one would wonder, why is this state like this? From poor infrastructure to lack, or he said he's going to give them 24-hour power with the gas in Odioma alone. Now, if you look at all of this and look at the state of Bayelsa right now, would you agree with Udensiradri that it is time to give chance to the younger generation and let go of the old political order and see maybe there will be some help coming to Bayelsa State?
I don't agree with practically most of what he said. In fact, almost all what he said is born out of either outright ignorance or lack of knowledge of what governance is all about.
What would you say?
It's easy for politicians to just come on air and just start ranting. But governance is different from politics. We are talking about what is permissible within the space, the legal space of that country. Let me just puncture some of the things he said. He talked about an export-free zone. He talked about electricity and some other issues. But even if we start with these two, please note.
Blue economy.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. Yeah, some of these concepts, people who postulate them, is doubtful if they even understand it properly. Now, let me make it clear, and we've said it on a blowout in the past in your studio here. You cannot be talking about electricity in Nigeria today except and until the federal government of Nigeria hands off. Meaning that if you like, as a state government, if you like, you build 20 gas turbines, you will not be able to effectively utilize it. Rivers State is a case study for that.
But the president just signed.
I'm coming. Yeah, okay, go on,
The president
Vivian.
just signed electricity bill
Yes,
into law,
yes.
which was also giving power energy.
Good, beautiful. I like the fact that you just mentioned the signing of. I said hands off. I wasn't just talking about legislation.
Okay.
You know, if I mean, all of us are adults to recollect when Nigeria had little or no effective telecom communication in terms of phones. What changed or revolutionized that was when the former government of President Olusegun Obasanjo came in, and not just privatized, they decentralized the issuance of that service to the Nigerian public. Today we are proud to say that even truck pushers in Nigeria can own phones very easily. In fact, some even carry up to 3 or 4 phones. This was unheard of in the Nigeria of old. It's the same thing with electricity. Until government puts in the infrastructure to hands off, it's a different thing to put in the legislation or amend the legislation to reflect as if you are, if you like, doing the right thing. But in practice, what is the position? In practice, the provisions of the Constitution of Nigeria need to be amended and done away with, where we are talking about power being on the exclusive list.
So can I ask you
I'm coming, Vivian. I need to explain to the audience that a law made by the National Assembly is inferior to the Constitution of Nigeria. Until you deal with the fundamental defects of the 1999 Constitution, you will never have power. I bet you we will have this conversation in years to come and you will see that I am correct. Because of the simple reason that power needs to be completely decentralized. Decentralized to the extent that if you, Vivian, have the resources to give power to just a section of Port Harcourt, you should be able to give that power. If another person has the resources, the same thing. Now, as for the issue of export free zone, please learn from the experience of Cross River.
So let's talk about you have time to deal with that. Let's talk about the issue of power again, because this is a critical conversation. Now, I talked about the issue of Abia State, who had the gas turbine issue in River State. Now, let's bring this to bear. When you talk about decentralizing, there are about 11 power distribution companies right now in Nigeria, and then of course there is the Gencos. We have the likes of Otedola and Tony Elumelu, who own some of these power generating plants. Now, what is it? How then do the private oil companies in some of the states, like Bayelsa State, how do they generate 24-hour power?
I will explain that to you.
And the states, because he's saying when he becomes a governor, he's going to use the Diomo gas plants to ensure that he powers Bayelsa 24 hours because it's possible. So now, if all of this is possible from the angle of private individuals, from the angle of other states, why is it not possible for a governor to look at that as a
let me explain power to you, because I understand power perfectly. Power is made up of 3 main structures. Generation, transmission, and distribution. Some of the actors you have just explained have invested in different areas of preference to them. Most of the investment in generation is by the federal government of Nigeria, and I am saying, I'm repeating so that everybody will hear me, that until the federal government hands off, I didn't say they should just play the role of regulators. That's all they should do. Hands off, so that people can, the private sector and even the participation of the public sector can sit down and draw a proper blueprint, a proper electricity plan for Nigeria. We are talking about a country of 923,000 square kilometer area in size, and you are talking about haphazard power policies and plans. You just signed the law yesterday. It will not give you power. Quote me.
Okay, that's fine. Let
me also explain. You can generate power, but you will not be able to use it. Meaning that Abia State, Bayelsa State, any state can go and build a gas turbine. So but you know who is going to knock on your door?
Sorry, when you do that and the federal government say, because we are the federal government, we want to have a share in this, is that going to limit him from from giving 24 hours power to...
Let me explain the practice presently so that you get it specifically. When you build power, you say, when you build power, because of the, if you like call it, obnoxious laws in Nigeria presently on electricity, when you build a gas turbine, it's almost like a man who built a house, but it's not allowed to enter the house because you'll be visited by the power authorities, the federal government agency. Let me explain, Vivian, so that you understand, please. So you'll be visited by them. and they will tell you that for you to use your gas turbine, you are going to pay them what they call loss of revenue. Okay. Loss of revenue means
is that something the states cannot afford?
No, you cannot pay loss of revenue. It's as good as you didn't build any gas turbine.
And that cannot be negotiated.
No, it cannot be negotiated.
So how is this
and it's obnoxious. That's why I call it obnoxious.
That's okay, but how is it oil and gas companies? And I'm talking about
yes, that's why I said I will explain it to you.
How they able to generate power within a state, and the state's residents itself or citizens or natives cannot have power?
No, please understand it, Vivian. I have told you there are 3 steps. Generation is when you get a source. Sorry, let me come in. That's when you get a source that brings out the electricity. It won't give you electricity at home. You will need to transmit it, and then the discos will need to then distribute it. Please note that the oil companies have special waivers, and there are not many of them.
Okay, is the state limited from getting this waiver?
No state has ever gotten it. That is the sad aspect. No state has ever gotten waivers.
Vivian, you don't need to find it very difficult to understand what he's saying. You see, just to answer from the last question, you asked.
Sorry, it's not just about me now. I mentioned that there is Abia State. There is a River State has also made an attempt as we speak right now.
Yes, the attempt they made. What was the result?
So hold on. The governorship candidate of Labour Party in Bayelsa is saying that there is a gas in Ojomo. Yes. He's going to use it.
He cannot use it. He's just talking.
See, I agree with him. You know why?
Okay.
Even the oil companies that are giving electricity to their host communities are not using the national grid.
Okay. What are they using?
They have their own line. For instance, I came from a community that enjoyed such independent power supply for quite some time before the company left. As I speak with you, for over 2 years now, we don't have electricity in my community.
Okay.
But we enjoyed it. The power was generated independently and transmitted. If you come to my community as at then, for 2 years there was you will have electricity. It will not blink. So, but what the man is trying to say is that if you have said that you want to liberalize electricity, don't monopolize it. Remove your hand.
Yes.
Don't hold somebody on the ground that you expect him to run. That's exactly what he's trying to say. Look at what is happening in our oil and gas sector. There are so many persons that can build a very small portable refineries that can refine petroleum products. Why are they not doing that? Because the government has not given you the license to actually operate in that manner.
Okay, so what is going on in Abia State now? Can you explain that with the geometry power supply from that is being worked on with the government?
But when they finish, let's see what is going to happen. If actually they will not have that, because by the time federal government give them condition on how to do that, they may find it very difficult to distribute. At the end of the day, they will still pass through the distribution company in Abia State to actually do that.
Sorry, they cannot even transmit after they generate.
Thank you.
Because there's a Nigerian transmission company.
Exactly.
These are issues.
So, but if they go through the transmission company, can they generate?
They cannot. There is no precedent. That's why I say if you want to make people to be free, when you want to release a prisoner, you pack all his load, open the jail doors, and then escort him outside and make sure he's on his way out.
All right.
The federal government should hands off power so that we have power. That's my position. That's the truth.
We will have more of this conversation. I think there's more to this that we all need to understand. But whatever it is, Engineer Dengsi Redu, we wish you the very best. But let's talk about tribunal verdict. Atiku Obi's petition lacked merit, abysmally unproved. This is coming from the People's Democratic Party, being represented by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the Labour Party of Mr. Peter Obi and Nigerians at large are waiting for the verdict of the Presidential Election Tribunal Court on the February 25, 2023 presidential election. So while speaking on the Presidential Tribunal cases, Prince Adewola Ebenezer Adebayo of the presidential candidate of the SDP over the weekend, via his official X, that's Twitter handle, said at President Adebayo, which is at President Adebayo, he said the petitions lack merit and were poorly presented. He said this year's election petitions are the easiest to dispense with since 1999. So he has no need for any judicial acrobatics. they fall within clear jurisprudence and well-established precedents. He said Obi and Labour Party versus Tinubu INEC will be dismissed in line. Ditto for Atiku PDP versus Tinubu INEC. These petitions lack merit and are poorly presented. He said abysmally unproved and comically argued. APM's half-hearted petition is a pre-election mongrel with no pedigree in electoral litigation. So he said the judges are not to blame. All opposition elements should prepare for 2027 elections. Chief will come back to you, but let me bring this to you. This is purely legal matter right now. What is Prince Adebayo talking about here?
Well, first, let me just say that his statement is what we in law we refer to as an obiter dictum. It's baseless. It's not within the confines of anything that is worth talking about, because of a simple reason that if matters have been argued in court, judgment is pending. You have to wait until the judgment is given. What he's trying to do, or what he has just done, and I don't know, but I suspect he's a lawyer. I hear he's a lawyer. Now, if he is a lawyer, he should know that he shouldn't be doing that, because he's trying to prepare the minds of the people to an anticipatory decision. So I don't think he has the mandate of the tribunal to do so. However, if he had just said in his own personal opinion, which I didn't see added to that comment. Now, if you say in your own personal opinion, it will make sense, because you are entitled to your personal opinion no matter the circumstance, but not to disparage or anticipate the judgment of the court wholesomely, because two judges could hear a case and they have different views on the same case. So I think that is the way we should approach it. He's rushing to debate. Arguments have been taken, addresses have been made. Let's wait for the judgment of the court. I also have my own opinion about some of the positions they took to the tribunal. I, for instance, don't believe that you need to win in Abuja to be president of Nigeria. No, there is no position. These are issues that had been long dispensed. That is my position, and I am supported by law. These are issues that have been long dispensed with in the case of Awolowo versus Shagari 1979 Supreme Court. So I don't know why lawyers today are pretending as if they don't know that that law was settled. I mean, it was not just settled. A world-class mathematician came to court and calculated what two-third majority meant. You know, it did not necessarily make Abuja a special case. Abuja is interpreted to be part of the states of the federation for the purpose of that calculation, and it was no less a person than Professor Chike Obi. That is the law. So if that happens to be what the
but is that in the 1999 constitution?
Yes, it is still the law. It is still the law. By the way, in case you don't know, as of 1979, Abuja was already the federal capital of Nigeria. That capital had not moved from Lagos to Abuja does not mean Abuja became the federal capital of Nigeria in 1976.
Okay.
So there's a lot of ignorance on those issues, and I've joined issues with some of my colleagues, I mean bright colleagues and senior ones like Mike Ozekeme, Prof. and S.A. And I told him you are wrong, because of a simple reason that law is the same reason why no election petition has been overturned when you're talking about calculating what is two-third majority since 1979 when we started a presidential system of government till today.
All right.
And I won't be surprised if that
so we'll
is
just
maintained.
leave that for the Supreme Court judges led by the
Court of Appeal
led by Justice Tsunami and Samani, and then we hope that something comes out of there. But let's quickly look at this issue, Chief. The newly elected national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Senator Abdullahi Ganduje, says the ruling party is ready to receive the national leader of the new Nigeria People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, if he wants to defect. Ganduje, in a chat with some selected media organizations in Kano on Saturday night, said he is now in charge of the party's affairs, while stressing that his position has made it easier for Kwankwaso to rejoin the ruling party if he's willing. According to Ganduje, Kwankwaso is a good politician who has held several notable positions in both the state and the nation. So he said nobody will say Kwankwaso is not a good politician. At least he was a two-term Kano state governor, although in disrupted tenures. He was Minister of Defense, even though he doesn't know what defense is. And he was once a senator, even though he never said anything throughout his stay there. But if he is willing to come to the APC, our door is open, especially now that someone from his state is the party chairman. It will be easier for him to lobby. Have you ever seen anyone gloats at another the way Ganduje is gloating at Kwankwaso right now. What in God's word is this? Is this politics, or is this just being petty with some sauce on it?
I don't know why you were laughing after reading this.
I can't believe he said all that. Like, really?
You see, I will describe this statement of Ganduje as a statement of one who is afraid of the other person, in a way, who is afraid of Kwankwaso, who is afraid of Kwankwaso's, or who is mindful of Kwankwaso's popularity in Kano State. The reason I say this is that, one, I'm not aware, I've not seen anywhere Kwankwaso have said, I want to join APC in recent time. He has not made that statement publicly.
But his name is in the ministerial list.
Yeah. Has he been screened? I'm not sure. I didn't see Kwankwaso's name except of recent.
Okay, his name wasn't there.
His name wasn't there.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Okay.
His name isn't there. So, and Kwankwaso was just, Ganduje was the deputy governor to Kwankwaso. And Kwankwaso used the mercenary of the state to aid him to become governor. And in the long run, they fell apart. That made Kwankwaso now to form a party and dislodged him completely from Kano State. And now he's coming up, blowing hot and cool, trying to praise Kwankwaso in one side and at the same time pouring him hot water again. And let me prophesy here that if Kwankwaso is not careful, he will be the shortest person that may have served as the national chairman of APC.
Are you talking about Ganduje?
I mean Ganduje. Ganduje may be the one that may have stayed very short in office as a national chairman of APC. I expected him to, he just assumed office how many days ago. I expected him to just calm down, arrange himself very well, and look at the body language of the president, who is the leader of the party. Because the body language of Tinubu does not look like one who wants to fight with, whether you call them the old order or the new order. His body language seems to be one that is trying to bring everybody together.
Yeah.
And he's coming up to say things that are demeaning. Imagine you saying somebody was a minister for defense, even though he do not know what defense is all about. And he sat for about maybe 4 years as minister. The president didn't sack him as at then. He became two-time governor of your state. You became his deputy governor. He became a senator. And you say he didn't speak for one day. It is a kind of trying to mock the man, trying to, fight him even when there was no fight, so that you prepare him, even if he is trying to come to APC. You don't want him to come so that he will not come with his popularity to, overshadow you in the party. That's what Ganduje is playing. He's afraid of Kwankwaso by the position he has assumed here.
Okay.
Because the man is seated comfortably in his political party, has never joined issues with you in any statement in anywhere. He just came up and take up on him.
Okay.
This alone can cost him his office, because you do not know whether the leadership of APC before he came are trying to woo Kwankwaso to their party, because they have seen that he is more popular than you in Kano State by producing all the senators of the state, producing the majority of the House of Rep members, producing the governor of the state. And they are saying that the man do not know what defense is all about, have not speak, and he has dislodged you. So why wouldn't APC be interested in trying to see how they can woo such a man into their party? And you're attacking him now. The party may say, okay, if you are doing this, we'll wait for you somewhere, and during our national convention, we'll vote you out.
All right. Now that you said that, let's go back to Kwankwaso and Ganduje. When Tinubu emerged, was inaugurated in office, Kwankwaso was there to meet with him, and we learned that Ganduje allegedly said that if he had met Kwankwaso in Aso Rock, he would have slapped him. Now, that was that. Like Chief said, there seemed to be some wooing. He also, Kwankwaso also visited the president in Paris, one of those visits, you know. There seemed to be some wooing, some kind of good rapport between him and the president, Kwankwaso and the president. Now, seeing the man whom Tinubu just endorsed against all odds, because a lot of people didn't really want him, but somehow he emerged. Seeing him go against one of the strongest political juggernauts in Kano State, when people were expecting him to mend fences and bring old party members and all of that together, and you see him acting like a child whose candy was taken and finally found a way to get it back. I'd like to have your reaction, Prof.
Well, first and foremost, I don't really like discussing Nigerian politicians because most times they are not worth talking about. They are not mature. They are not. They don't even have any competencies most times. So I think belatedly, or should I say, because you asked me, I would just say that Kwankwaso suffers from, Ganduje suffers from a lot of youthful exuberance. And he has, yes, a lot of it. And he's actually youthful in his behavior.
Okay.
Yes, and he's probably even younger than Kwankwaso. Yes, if you look at them carefully, and so he knows something about defense. He never did this, you know. These are very childish tantrum. But it is a sad day for Nigeria that the ruling party has appointed somebody, because he wasn't elected, has appointed somebody who was caught on camera collecting bribe in his dollars. You think I will forget, or you think I'll be afraid to say it? You know me, I'm not afraid of anybody. In his pockets. And that's the man you want me to comment on, Bibi, and give me a break.
Okay, let's just leave Ganduje where he is, and then let's go to talk about something else. Prof, I'm still coming to you. So a group of senior advocates of Nigeria have given reasons why President Bola Tinubu cannot unilaterally deploy troops to Niger Republic to restore democratic rule in troubled country. What giving his stake, Mr. Jacob Usman said by Section 5, subsection 4A of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, the president cannot declare a state of war between Nigeria and any other country except with the approval of both the House of Reps and the Senate sitting in a joint section. What it means, he said, is that if there is any threat to Nigeria and the president is of the view that there is need to declare a state of war between Nigeria and that country, he must seek the approval of the National Assembly, both the Senate and House of Reps in a joint section, not with each of them sitting independently. So he says subsection 4B provides that except with the prior approval of the Senate, the president shall not deploy any of the armed forces of Nigeria outside the country. And this is where the case of Niger Republic comes in. The president wrote for the approval of the Senate for the armed forces of Nigeria to be deployed on a combat duty out of Nigeria, and the Senate said to his understanding rejected the approval. So he said on his part, Mr. Abeni Mohammed said sending Nigeria troops to foreign countries of the president alone, so it requires the collective decision by the president and the Senate. However, he said, in the event of a sudden attack on Nigeria, the president can deploy troops to repel the attack and defend the country without waiting for the consent of the Senate, which he can seek and obtain subsequently. Another senior advocate of Nigeria, also Professor of Law Epiphany Azinge, said it is not in dispute that the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, but when it comes to deployment of troops, he needs the acquiescence of the Senate. He said this is for many reasons. First, to avoid outright dictatorship by Mr. President. Second, is to ensure budgetary approval for the conflict. So he said a president that decides to engage in conflict against the advice of the Senate may be starved of funds for the prosecution of war. That is not in the best interest of the nation. But everyone will take a short break. When we come back, we'll have the Professor of Law deal on this issue. What are we looking at? Should the both houses be on ground for this agreement or not? Is it just the Senate? We will have that conversation after the break.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. The POS operator, she said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Hey, welcome to the StarTimes 35th anniversary celebration. To say thank you to every StarTimes family for being an integral part of our journey, StarTimes has decided to give you a price slash on decoders. Yes, we are slashing the price of our antenna decoder from 8,900 naira to 7,500 naira and the dish decoder from 13,300 naira to 9,900 naira. But that's not all. Existing subscribers can recharge for 2 months on their current bouquet and get upgraded to the next higher bouquet. And if you recharge on the classic or super bouquet, you'll receive a fantastic reward of extra 15 days of free viewing. You can enjoy our top local and international content. So, what are you waiting for? Quickly, visit any Star.
People. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank. There are POS operators. She said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which
And welcome back to ATN's Open Conversation, everyone. Now, Prof, let me come to you. Part of those who had the conversation, one of the senior advocates of Mr. Daya Kinlaja, he said, while responding to a question if President Tinubu could deploy troops in Niger despite the withdrawal of consent by the Senate, he said the answer is a capital no, an emphatic no, that is not going to happen. Now, according to, he said, the Senate, it is the prerogative of the Senate to approve deployment of troops for combat duty outside Nigeria. So I said if the President is expected to obtain the prior approval of Senate before doing that. Now, the big question we want to have right now, we know that first and foremost, Falana over the weekend, late last night, I think, also came out to say that the ECOWAS cannot intervene or step into the But we saw that the ECOWAS had a meeting over a week ago, made some threats, issued some threats and sanctions, what will happen, and even said that force may be used if it comes to that. The ECOWAS military heads had a meeting in Nigeria on the same subject. President Tinubu also, without the UN approval, sent in emissaries to Niger, the Sultan of Sokoto and the former head of state Abdulsalami Abubakar. Now, if you look at that, now he also sent a letter to the Senate and not the House of Reps, which we're learning from Falana and then from these senior advocates now to say that there is no way he needs the approval of both houses in order for him to get approval to get into there to do anything. And of course, with the the UN Security Council, I'd like to bring you in here and see how much you can educate us on this.
Okay, first, let me start from the last. It's not an issue of the United Nations. The United Nations can only advise or probably give their inputs and do their statutory duties. For instance, if there's a refugee crisis as a result, and is it a right that he shares side by side with the National Assembly or the Senate, as some people even suggest, are not including the House of Reps? Let me just answer the question, a very easy one. Yes, the president has a right to deploy troops abroad. Please note that Nigeria is not at war with the Niger Republic. We need to distinguish that. It is a decision of the Economic Community of West Africa, otherwise known as ECOWAS, for which Nigeria is a major signatory of the protocols of that community. So it is the community that is going to war. The appropriate procedure, with all due respect to my senior colleagues and also profs, that and senior advocates also, they are wrong because, and even Mr. Falana, the senior advocate, they are wrong because they do not understand that there's a
swore.
Yes.
Here is Falana's position on
Yeah.
this, so we can put it in proper perspective.
Yes.
Falana said, in addition to the above, the constitution of ECOWAS is required to seek and obtain the authorization of the UN Security Council to launch an attack on a sovereign nation. Pursuant to Article 53, subsection 1 of the United Nations Charter,
Yeah.
Article 53, subsection 1 provides in part,
Yeah.
Falana said, the Security Council shall where appropriate, utilize such regional arrangement or agencies for enforcement action under its authority. Signatory to the UN Charter.
Wait, there's nothing about. I have read the UN Charter over. I mean, if you like, call it 50 or 60 times. There is no one portion that says that we as a region or we as a continent need to seek the approval of the United Nations. Sometimes deploying, raising a full army, they can say, okay, there's ECOMOG already. They already have a standing force. Let's use their force to enforce this. That is what that concerns. So it's not true.
All right, we'll just keep having the conversation. Chief, I'm coming to you right now. So yesterday, after we read in the news that the Chicago court threw away Atiku's petition. Okay, you want to? All right, let me quickly give you opportunity to do that, please.
Because the issue is of national interest that has to do with both our resources and the life of our.
That's where we can.
That of Falana. I can comfortably say that I can stand firmly, even though I'm not a lawyer, to also give my own position, to lend my voice.
No, it's everybody can.
Yes, because study the bilateral agreements signed by countries. What are the status? What are they saying? What are they talking about? So the only thing that can serve the Niger Republic in this situation is, normally when a government is
ECOWAS gave this.
They are still considering positions because
they don't have to do it when
but they said after 7 days.
Yes, I know, but that's a military strategy at that point.
Late on Sunday said Waziri Atiku Abubakar only withdrew the case before a circuit court of Cook County, Illinois County, United States of America, because he is pursuing the same matter in a higher court and he wanted to avoid an abuse of court process. So this is just the beginning. So Shuaibu further stated that in the last 1 week, Nigeria have been watching the ongoing ministerial screening. Okay, let's leave it at that. Because of time, let me quickly come to you, Prof.
Yeah.
So yesterday we read in the news, like I said, that the judge threw away Atiku's case against Tinubu over certificate issues, stating that they know Tinubu in Chicago, that nobody can say they don't know him, he's well respected and all of that. Well, he has gone back to court now to say, where his spokesperson is saying Atiku withdrew his case, that he has filed the case that is said to be thrown away, that he has filed a new case. So I'd like to bring you in.
Sometimes when I watch Nigerian politicians, they're just
in question right now. And now my opponent is saying, I want to prove that you did not actually own those certificates that you put in.
To what purpose?
They are in court.
Vigan, your question is not a yes or a no answer.
Okay.
Now let me come to this way. Nigeria is governed by law, and there are electoral acts for pre and post-election matters. Before President Tinubu began to run election, he has submitted these documents before the election. And now, I know that one of the rules, except I don't know if it is different. No, it is, you are just wasting your time.
Okay,
just like he said that it's either he do not have a lawyer or he does not have a
good lawyer.
Yes, because yesterday we read in the news that the judge who was handling the case in Chicago, Illinois, threw out the case and said that they all know Tinubu. And now, we just that yesterday evening as well, another news came up through Frank Shuaibu saying that he has actually filed another case, and his reason for withdrawing the first one and not that it was thrown away is based on the fact
who is Frank Shuaibu, by the way? Who is
Atiku spokesperson.
Okay, he's not a lawyer. If he read law, he only read law. It's not a.
No, but I'm
not good and bad. Okay. So I'm just saying that Atiku does not have good lawyers.